Hello everyone, my name is Chandrajit Mukherjee and you're watching our series on the polity, and we are discussing about the salient features of the Indian Constitution. So far we have discussed 7 salient features of the Indian Constitution, and we have discussed in details, right? And along with those features I have given you the questions also, in terms of the questions that can be asked in the UPSC mains. If you have not watched those videos, please go to the link that is there in the description and also in the I button. Please do and watch, because until and unless you are aware of what has happened already, it would be difficult for you to grasp what we are about to do. Today we are going to start with the 8th feature, and that is the fundamental rights. Now you see, fundamental rights is a topic which we will be discussing in detail when we will be doing the fundamental rights per se. But today we are going to discuss fundamental rights as of salient features in a very nutshell, in a very crisp manner, right? So what is a fundamental right would be the first question that should be coming to your mind. Second is what kind of right it is. So what is fundamental right? 2, the characteristic features of fundamental right. 3, the limitations on fundamental right. And 4, types of fundamental right. And rather we will go into the significance of that and so on and so forth. Now what is a fundamental right? See, fundamental, the name, the word suggests it is the fundamental right. So fundamental to what? So fundamental rights are those rights which are important, which are fundamental for the overall human development. And also it is fundamental because these rights, which are classified as fundamental rights, these rights are protected, preserved by the fundamental law of the land, and that is the Constitution of India. So it is, number 1, it is fundamental to human development, fundamental to overall human development and growth. 2, it is protected by the fundamental law of the land, that is the Constitution. These are the 2 reasons which are there, which are behind this term fundamental rights. These are the reasons why we call these rights as fundamental rights, right? Number 2, how many types of fundamental rights are there? You see, Indian Constitution classified 6 different categories of fundamental rights. Number 1, right to equality, wherein we talk about equality in its truest sense. In single word, if I have to define equality, then I would say that equal treatments with equal, unequal treatment with unequal samples rather. So basically, equals should be treated equally, unequals should be treated unequally. We cannot treat unequal people equally. That would be wrong. So if I have to compare with, say, a tea, I can compare a tea with another tea. I cannot compare tea with coffee. Alright, so equal treatment should be given equally, and unequal people should be treated unequally. So that, say for example, the reservation policies, there are few categories of students, few categories of people, community which are not so developed. So if I treat them equally with those who are getting these facilities these days, then that would be unequal. That would not be equality per se. So I have to treat unequal people unequally, so that I can ensure the greater cause of equality. Alright, so that I can serve the greater cause of equality. So this is number 1, right? We'll go into detail when we'll be doing the fundamental rights, as I said. So right to equality, then this equality concept runs from Article 14 to Article 18. Article 19 talks about, from 19 to 22, it talks about right to freedom of liberty, expression, belief, thought, these are the things. Next, right against exploitation. This is basically of Article 23 to Article 24. Right to religion, right to freedom of religion. This is from Article 25 to 28. Now when it comes to cultural and educational rights, particularly for the minorities, this is basically from Article 29 to 30. And we used to have right to property as a fundamental right since up till 1978, and after that, with the help of 44th Amendment, we have declassified right to property as a fundamental right and shifted it to a mere constitutional right under Article 300 capital A. Now Article 32 talks about rights to constitutional remedies. All right, so the areas, the power, the tool through which we can ensure that our fundamental rights are being guaranteed whenever these fundamental rights have been encroached by the government or by any other fellow citizens. Now the features of fundamental right. Number 1 feature is that this fundamental right talks about, mainly the fundamental rights are based on the foundation, which is the political democracy. The political democracy plays the fundamental ground, the background or the pillar based on which, the foundation based on which the fundamental rights is established. So fundamental rights is equals to political democracy. Alright, it is justiciable in nature. That means whenever it has been encroached, you can go to the Supreme Court and you can use the Article 32 as a tool, and Supreme Court can ensure a fundamental right being protected, and it can also provide remedies through the writs, the 5 kinds of writs that we have in India. Now, what is writs? What are the types of writs? What are the significance of writs? These are the things that we will be discussing in the fundamental rights chapter. Next, these fundamental rights are not absolute in nature. So these fundamental rights can be restricted reasonably. All right. Say for example, for public health, public morality, decency. All right. So these are the areas through which the government can restrict our fundamental rights. but those restrictions has to be reasonable, just and fair. So in one word, fundamental rights are not absolute in nature. They are not sacrosanct. They can be changed, they can be repealed, they can be suspended even during the national emergency, except Article 20 and 21. The rights that are mentioned in Article 20 and 21, they cannot be suspended even during the national emergency. Now, the core idea of fundamental rights, is to ensure two things. Number one, we have to ensure that the government should remain limited. It should not encroach, it should not become a majoritarian autocratic rule. So to prevent a majoritarian autocratic despotic rule, we need to ensure our fundamental rights, and that is why it is also ensures the political democracy, the core concepts of political democracy. And these fundamental rights have been protected by the fundamental law of the land, that is the Constitution. It also ensures the non-arbitrariness on the part of the government. So for example, I am a SC candidate and I am about to get, I ought to get my SC certificate. Now, whenever I approach to the authorities, they do not give me that certificate. Instead, in fact, they ask for bribe, they ask for money. Now, my fundamental right is being breached here because I am entitled to get that that certificate. But here, my rights have been encroached by the government officials. I can see that there are few candidates who came along with me. They are getting the certificates, but I am not being given the certificate. And the reason is that they have paid the bribe, I have not. Or maybe they are their relatives. So there is some kind of an unjust, arbitrary action on the part of the government or the government employee. Here I can go up to the Supreme Court and ask for the assurance from Supreme Court, please ensure my fundamental right, because I belong to a community which deserves a reservation. Reservation is a part of the equality principle, and this fellow is not giving me that certificate based on which I can claim my reservation. So my fundamental right has been breached here. Here the Supreme Court can intervene and give a direction, give a mandate. This is known as the mandamus. We command. The Supreme Court will command the government authorities to do their work properly. So the entire concept of fundamental rights is being that the Constitution of India, the fundamental law, will protect your fundamental rights, based on which you can ensure your political democracy. Or through political democracy, you can ensure a limited government which is non-arbitrary. In the sense, you can ensure political democracy through ensure constitutionalism. Actually, you can ensure constitutionalism through political democracy. And what is constitutionalism? It is nothing but the unarbitrary or non-arbitrary government. So we can ensure constitutionalism through the exercise of fundamental rights, and these fundamental rights, in other words, protected, guarded by the Supreme Court of India, and it is the law, the supreme law, the fundamental law that protects, that gives the power to the Supreme Court. So all these points are connected. So whenever you will see the word fundamental rights, you have to immediately jot down few points. Number one, political democracy. Number two, fundamental law of the land, that is Constitution. Number three, the Supreme Court of the apex judiciary. Number four, the guardian of the fundamental rights and Constitution. Number four, non-arbitrary government and limited government. These are the things that have been ensured through this. And number five, most importantly, it is important for the overall development of the human beings. So I hope you have understood it, and as and when we will proceed to the fundamental right, we will see how judicial engineering, how various kinds of judgments in judicial engineering have expanded the scope of fundamental rights to ensure the overall agenda of maintaining constitutionalism in India. Thank you so much. I hope you have understood this lecture. If you have liked it, if you want to appreciate this, then please do subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Namaste.